have to help me with audio a little bit. If audio's a little bit I had to last minute get this set up going, so. But yeah, I'm eBloodyCan. Welcome to After Hours on RGL now. So we're going to be playing a homebrew game for the Game Boy called Sam Mallard in the Case of the Missing Swan. This game actually came out this year, so it's actually a pretty cool game. But there is no questions at all. We're going to go on the way in 3, 2, 1. Let's rock. Alright, so the base of the game is the point-and-click adventure for the Game Boy. What we're going to be doing is that we're going to be collecting various clues to figure out why the swan has gone missing. So doing so, we are a private detective named Sam Mallard, and Mr. Swan has given us $1,000 down payment to figure out what happened to his disappeared wife. So we're going to be going through various pieces of the city to figure out where Mrs. Swan happens to be. One thing of this game really that does, in my opinion, extremely well is obviously the sprite work, right? But the animation to the game itself too is so good. Like watching Sam put stuff into his pockets, and the lighting here, like once you're out of the light, you darken, and you light up. It's so good. The attention to detail in this game is phenomenal. So here what we're doing is that we're going to be buying a steak. So what we need to do here is get past the dog to go into the open window to go into Mrs. Swan's lawyer office. And we can't just give the dog any old steak. We gotta spice it up a bit. And you'll notice that brick wall has now turned into a hidden spice shop. Let's talk to the old wise spice master here. So we're gonna buy a pepper, and what we need to buy is that we need to buy the hottest pepper in the store. And the hottest pepper in the store is the purple pepper. Then we leave, and what we're going to do is that we're going to put the pepper onto the steak, and we're going to feed it to the doggo and not feel any remorse about it. Saints Row, oh man, the Saints Row marathons were so good. So here we're gonna dig into the garbage. We're gonna get a rusty old can opener to use for later. Yeah, the Saints Row marathons were a lot of fun. So now that we're inside of the lawyer's office, we need to make sure that it's Mrs. Swan's office. So of course, every lawyer has their diploma up on the wall. So here we're gonna go grab the note out of the trash can. We're gonna grab the book off the bookshelf. We're not gonna look at them, but what they do is that they tell you the combination to the safe. So everything is based on the butterflies in this. So here we can see that there's 3 black tipped, 2 onyx, and 1 king butterfly. So that's what the note kind of tells you or indicates to you, or you can just know what the combination is. Go right to it. So one thing about this game is that this game does not hold your hand at all, nor does it give you a journal to document your entries. So After a while in this game, it gets to the point where you have no idea what to do or where to go. And I think I spent an hour Friday night. I think I spent an hour finding or looking for a stick. So the game does not give you much leeway after a while, and this is where the game literally just stops helping you. So what you need to do is that you need to get past this guard. So one thing about the game that the game does do well is that you see how things are highlighted with a white outline. That means that they're interactable and they're somewhat important to the story or to the game. So what needs to happen now is that we're gonna go in here, we're gonna check out these crates, rubber, glue, feathers, and tar, and then there's one crate over here that you would never know about that is partially open. We try to apply it with our hands, we just can't because Sam Mallard doesn't work out anymore because I have a private eye now. Too good for that. So here's where the game is like, you know what, figure it out for yourself. So you just have to know to go to City Park. You just have to know to go behind this bush to pick up a stick. And you just have to know to talk to this poor individual on a bench. You just have to know those things. So we tries to give this man on the bench some money, and then he gets all mad and insulted about it and tells Santa how he'd rather work for his money, but instead he would really go for something fresh and sweet. So again, the first time we're playing this, like, oh, there's a pizzeria that delivers. Maybe there's something there, or a Chinatown. Nah. Nope. This is where I spent, like I said, a better part of an hour of the game figuring out this one little piece right here. So what we're going to do is that we are going to use this stick. Then we're just going to take a can of peaches because that's what was in that crate. That crate just happened to have peaches in it. So now we're going to use the can opener to open up the can of peaches, which are fresh and sweet. We're going to go back to Central Park. The big thing that we want from this guy here is the newspaper. So we're literally going to take his blanket. Ah, succulent peaches. Now we got his newspaper. If we look at the newspaper, this is the clue that it gives you. Tonight's newspaper tells you about the big efforts of the Harbor Union. Okay? So you know it has to deal something with the harbor at least. So now we're gonna go back to the harbor. And if you try to talk to the guard, or try to give the guard the newspaper, he just gets all sorts of upset, right? But hey, I just wanted to, and then the guard gets all mad. And here's one of my favorite animations in the game. Look at his eyebrow. He gives you the people's eyebrow, and then he gets all sorts of angry out of his little window while giving you the people's eyebrow. So what you need to do is that you need to put down the newspaper onto the box, because what he's going to do when he's on break is he's going to have a little coffee, and then he's going to want to read that newspaper probably, right? Yep, sure enough. So you're just like, you know what? See a sucker? Maybe you should pay attention on your job. And you just walk away, just walk right through. That's how it works in real life. You give a guard a newspaper in real life, and you can just walk on through. So we're going to get this rope. I honestly have no idea what the rope does. You don't use it at all. So, all right, so we get a financial report here. So now that we have a life insurance policy, and now we have a financial report. So the life insurance policy was taken out on Mrs. Swan a week before her disappearance. Now we have a financial report about Swan Line, which is where we're at right now, saying that, hey, their finances are tanking and they're about to file for bankruptcy. So we have some senses of foul play here. This is another puzzle that took me about 30 minutes to figure out. So you have to talk to this picture 3 times in order for it to open. Don't know why 3 times, but it's 3 times. So we're gonna use the small key because we can't pick that lock for some reason. Here what we're going to do is that we're going to get a picture. And what this picture is going to do is that it's going to lead us into our next big segment. This is why we're in after hours of RGL now. Now we have a scantily clad woman, Asian in appearance. There's some writing on the back for Mr. Swan. And one of the best liners seems like Mr. Swan is getting some on the side. Made me chuckle pretty good on Friday. So now we gotta go back to Chinatown. Yeah, we're after hours now, man. 3 o'clock in the morning. Alright, we're gonna go to Chinatown here. Another thing here, so this is a convenience store in Chinatown. It's closed due to illness. Another little thing there. So we're gonna show the picture on Chinatown. And Sam is looking to find any information about her. We go to the butcher. Butcher's like, nope, don't know anything about her. Okay. Then you go to the old man in the spice store. And if you know anything about anything, old men always know something about picture. So the old man clarifies that her name is Chun and that she works at Wang's bar. And then he yells at us for having an inappropriate photograph of her and showing her to people to try to figure out what her appearance is, and then tells us that we need to learn respect for people, which he's not. And then here's the big muscly guy. We can have a chat with him. And he just wants nothing to do with us. So if we show him this picture here, he gets a little upset that we have a dirty picture of Chun, and that he threatens to kill us. And if we give him if we try to bribe him, he just like straight up ignores us as well too. This was my favorite thing. If you try to hit him with the stick, just unfazed and just asks him what you're gonna do about it. But Sam doesn't do anything at all, and then Sam tries to walk through, and the bouncer's like, can't let you go through, bud. No matter who you are, even if Sam tries to have a nice conversation with him. So that said, we can't go right to Wang's anymore. Now we gotta go back to our office. So, if you ever try to call this number throughout any part of the game, it's always busy and they won't answer it. So, 555-4376. So now we have a woman that answers the phone at the pizzeria. And she asks what we would like, and since, they don't have, GPS and stuff, noir duck days, we ordered 20 pizzas to go to Wang's bar, and that we are a tall, dumb looking person outside, pretty hard to miss. So they'll be there in 30 minutes. So we ordered 20 pizzas to be delivered to the Wang's bar, where the bodyguard has to now deal with the pizzas. So the pizza delivery man there is giving it to the bodyguard, while the bodyguard is just palming his fist, ready to go with 20 pizzas strung through the alley. What a good interpretation No, so he was going to Wang's bar. That's how you get into bars too, by the way, in real life. If a bouncer ever tells you that you can't go into a bar, just order 20 pizzas, and then he has to deal with it. So now we gotta talk to Chun. So Chun, obviously not knowing who we are, but we know who she is, confront her about Mr. Swan, and she tries to play innocent to how she doesn't know Mr. Swan because she's having an affair with Mr. Swan. So then we show her the picture of herself, which I'm sure she's thrilled to see that we have. And we find out Mr. Swan's name is Alan as well during this, so here we hear from Chun about how she hasn't heard from Mr. Swan in a while, and how she used to talk to Mr. Swan a couple times face to face during the week, then how she used to talk to him every night on the phone, and she says that he couldn't be a part of his wife's disappearance. He's just a sweetheart. You know, the whole, you know, how it all goes in these movies. But whenever she tries to call him, he ignores her calls. You know how it is. And then she tells us that the wife is a mean hen, and how she calls them names and buys super luxurious and expensive things with Mr. Swan's money. And even though she's a lawyer, she's about to get fired from her job. And that Mr. Swan was about to file for divorce before she went missing. So now you know there's definitely some foul play happening. I love the foreground on this screen here with the two ducks with the hats on, kind of like centering you and Chun in the conversation. All right, so we get a phone call here on the ringer. We get this anonymous person here calling us at Wang's bar because they apparently know why we're there, or that we're there in general. But we never know why or how. But we have this anonymous caller saying that he has to talk to us and that we need to go to the pier to talk to them. And how he doesn't want to do this over the phone. So we get this mysterious call saying that we need to go to a pier. And this is a noir game, so you just know that they're looking to put cinder blocks on our feet there. Also, this logo right here looks like the logo from Dangan, which is a homebrew game, a homebrew shoot-'em-up bullet hell game made by the same people. Very fun game if you like frustrating shoot-'em-ups. Alright, so now we go to the pier. So there's the pier way out there. And if you remember before, that door used to be open, and now it is locked shut. So now what we need to do is that we use our handy dandy bent paper clip, and Sam Mallard shows off his lock picking skills with the paper clip. Now you get to see some pier action. So now this anonymous man walks up to the pier behind us and says he has some information about Edith Swan. So now we know Mrs. Swan's name. And that he works for Swan Line. And on the night of Edith's disappearance, he got a call from her saying to meet her at the pier. Which is already kind of weird that, you know, boss's wife is calling an employee to meet her at the pier. Little sus to begin with. But he said it sounded important, so he decided to meet her here at 11 o'clock that evening. And when he arrived, Mr. Swan and Mrs. Swan were together, and they decided to go on to the boat together. About an hour and a half before. Apparently they didn't notice anonymous duck 1 on the pier, so after an hour after being on the boat, Mr. Swan comes running off the boat a bit shaken, doesn't notice anonymous duck 1 standing on the pier, and then leaves. And then a half hour later, he goes on. Anonymous duck 1 goes onto the boat to look for Mrs. Swan and can't find her. So instead of calling the police, he just does nothing. He keeps it to himself. Oh, good civilian. Anonymous duck 1 goes and does nothing to help out the situation at all. Alright, so now we have all of that information. We realized that Chun was pretty sincere, and the harbor worker definitely has some useful information. So now we need to go back to the office and give Mr. Swan a call. You're probably thinking to yourself, well, EBC, you don't have Mr. Chun's number. You didn't inspect the envelope yet. 555-4863. We asked if this is Mr. Swan. Tell him that it's Mr. Mallard, and then Mr. Swan is asking if we found his wife, which we're just gonna be like, nope, but we have some stuff that we need to ask you about. I'll show for a bit so y'all can actually enjoy the soundtrack. Here we asked him if we can meet him onto the boat, and he's gonna be like, "Wow, why the boat? Sure, yeah, the boat sounds great." Then we're gonna make one additional call before we leave, but we don't know what that call is. So now we automatically jump to the harbor and talk to Mr. Swan here. Then basically just goes, have you not really found anything at all regarding my wife's disappearance? They're like, well, we did, but we didn't tell you that on the phone. And then here we actually put the blame game on him now. So it's like, yeah, all fingers point to you, Mr. Swan, about your wife's disappearance. And then we go over, if you've ever watched a noir style movie, when they catch the main villain, they gotta go through the whole backlog. And I was like, did I really think Mr. Swan was really dumb enough to leave all this evidence behind? You know, things like that, and they have to go through the whole backstory and the flashbacks and things of that nature. That's what we're going through right now. So it's like, hey, is Mr. Swan really this dumb? Would he have hired me as a private eye to get this job done with lousy cover-ups and frame frame his and frame himself in a murder? Then we talked about how Mrs. Swan was about to lose her job, her husband, and get cut off from the Swan Line Company funds. So here we reveal that Mr. Swan is actually Mrs. Swan. Mrs. Swan has actually decided to dress up as her husband, knock him out on the ship, and try to frame him for a murder that didn't happen so she could take the money and leave. Hinkle is Einhorn and Einhorn is Finkel, that's right. This is Ace Ventura minus the animals. We're not saving a dog in an apartment building, nor are we beating up the Philadelphia Eagles mascot for a pigeon. So here that we finally figured it all out, Edith reveals herself and goes, "Ah, you're smarter than I thought. I just imagine you as being a two-bit sleuth who would just take the easy way out." Then she goes, "It doesn't matter anyway, because I have this gun in my hand, and if I shoot you, all of this will still go away." And Sam was like, "That's why I told you to come onto the boat." 200 IQ'd Edith Swan. And if those aren't the best police sirens you've ever heard in your life. That is Edith Finch. Jesus, that's a good game. If you ever played Edith Finch, it's a really good game. With Edith and bracelets and Mr. Swan found below the deck. I light a smoke and walk into the night. So ends the case of the missing swan. There you go. There's the end screen. There's no credits. There's no... There you go. That's Sam Mallard in the case of the missing swan. This game, like I said, came out this year. I think in March, actually. And you can get the game for free on itch.io. And I highly recommend playing the game, actually reading the story, checking out all of the other side elements. It's a phenomenal game for what it is. But yeah, I will be right back. I need to get set up for my next game, which will be Egg Mania for the Game Boy Advance.